Well, good morning, everybody. This is Derek Eklum over here at Foundation Software, and I'd like to welcome everybody to today's, or I guess this week's edition of our Client Sales Webinar Series. These are webinars that I'll do throughout the year, and I like to cover some additional features, additional products that we have to offer. And today, we're going to continue to, I guess, take a deeper dive into our HQ suite. So I've been doing a series of these probably for the last few months, kind of covering some of the details, some of the additional features, and today is the first one that I think we're going to kind of get more into detail on the whole AIA side of it. In addition to that, I'll kind of overview the rest of the platform so everybody's on the same page when it comes to all of that. So what I'll do, kind of give you, the basic layout here, the format that we're going to walk through is I'll go through a short presentation covering our HQ suite, and then after that, I'll kind of open it up for you guys for any sort of questions. And if there's some other questions down the road, or if you wanted to set up a time to schedule, a time to hop online with myself and your team there, that is completely fine. So this will give you a good idea what this is all about. And then if you have further questions, we can always jump into that on a one-on-one call or demo there. So without further ado here, let me kind of pull up ProjectHQ here for you. So for those of you that aren't aware, that haven't seen anything on ProjectHQ, this is our new web-based project management platform. It's been out for close to 2 years, so it's not like it's brand new. It's had a ton of features in the last couple of years, and we continue to plan on adding additional features for probably at least the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years would be my guess. This will be kind of the next big thing here at Foundation. And Foundation's not going anywhere. The kind of Foundation is the main back office ERP, type system where you're doing all of your actual accounting and job cost reporting. HQ is going to be the web-based platform that'll connect to that to communicate certain pieces of information. And specifically today we're going to kind of cover more on the PM side of things. Now currently, ProjectHQ consists of 3 pieces, and that'll be changing. There'll be additional pieces coming down the line, but currently we've got 3 sections or pieces, or I guess you can call them modules, kind of looking at it from the Foundation perspective. There is ProjectHQ, which that is I always call that the main part of the platform. That's where you get into all of your different document management, things like RFIs, submittals, change orders, AIAs, which is kind of the big feature here this morning that we're going to be talking about. So that's one of the pieces. And then a second is Executive HQ. That is reporting. So that pulls job cost information out of your Foundation database. And then thirdly would be our Crew HQ, which is a scheduling and labor dispatching software to kind of keep track of jobs and get your people and other resources assigned out on those projects. So those are the current 3 pieces. And for those of you there that might be wondering, well, hey, I've heard of our project management module, or maybe you might even have the project management module and wondering where that fits into everything. So what I've always said really since day one with our project management module, there's nothing wrong with it, nothing bad with it. It's more of an entry-level project management product. The reality is it's part of your Foundation database, so there's going to be some, whether it's from a PM standpoint, technology, ease of use, intuitiveness. It's just none of those things are positives when it comes to that. So usually companies looking for project management software, one of their very first questions is, hey, is this web-based? So the PM module is not. That's where ProjectHQ is. So all in all, ProjectHQ is the newer technology, easier to use, more intuitive. You can use it on the go, on tablets, even smartphones out in the field. But at the same time, it talks to your Foundation database. So these are all kind of things where companies are looking for. So that, I guess in a nutshell, that's how this entire platform would compare back to the project management module. Now, turning back into our attention here with the details on ProjectHQ, let me just kind of go through an overview here. So there's the main page, which is actually, we call it the overview page. So from a project manager standpoint, when they log in, this is what they would see. And these would be their most recent projects. Next to that would be documents, which they can toggle between overdue, upcoming, or recent. In the middle would be, these are tasks on a job. So this would tie into the whole Crew HQ side of it. So more of an overview on tasks. And then at the bottom, there's a place for action items. And then weather conditions, and that's just wherever you're located, just from an informational standpoint, it would show you the weather conditions. And then down the side here, left-hand side, and that's where we always keep our toolbars here throughout the HQ suite, but projects, this would be ProjectHQ. I'll circle back around to that here in a moment. I'm going to spend a little bit of time in there. Schedule. So this is the CrewHQ part of the platform. And this is where it'll pull up a list of your projects. You can always configure different dates and times if you know, depending on how you schedule. But the idea is next to each job is where you can create your different tasks, assign resources. You can also flip the view, like if I want to see where, you know, employees or equipment items were, you know, I can always do that, or other contacts. But the idea, if I go ahead and hop into a task, is this is where you're filling out, you know, main descriptions, time frames. Other optional fields include items like created by, who is it scheduled by, category tags, what's the percent complete, and then kind of moving across the top here, you know, location of the task, which would pull the job's address by default. Resources, this is kind of the big one. So this is where you're assigning employees, contacts, crew, equipment, materials. These are all items that pull out of Foundation. So employees, vendors, customers, equipment items, inventory items. So this all, you know, it pulls out of your database and Foundation. But the idea is once any employee is scheduled to a task, they can get or receive an email or a text notification. So that's kind of the big thing with the CrewHQ. And there's some other items too, like miscellaneous notes. Does this tie into a budget? You know, some companies use cost codes as tasks, so that's where that kind of comes into play. Just custom informational fields, dependencies with predecessors and successors there. But yeah, that would be the CrewHQ side of it. And then working down here, contacts. This would just be a long list of all the different companies and people that you're dealing with within the HQ suite. And this would pull out of your Foundation database. Again, these can be pulled from employees, vendors, customers. You can always add people here too that, you know, might not be over on the accounting side of things, but just a long list of all the different people that you're dealing with. And then from a reporting standpoint, this is not that I mentioned Executive HQ is part of one of the big pieces of this, getting into job cost reporting, you know, et cetera, et cetera. This is not that. So this would be more lists and logs that you can go ahead and run. And like an example here, like if I ran this daily log summary here, it's going to pull up a screen with the criteria on that left-hand side. I'll just kind of go ahead and throw in a big range here, select a job, and there's other filters too. Like if I wanted to only include certain pieces, I can always do that. But on any report, the idea is you can pull the report up, enter in your criteria down the left-hand side, and then that'll pull this up here where you can always print this or export it, you know, to email out or whatnot. But yeah, reports, all just different lists and logs that you can run based on the different forms and documents that you're creating here. And speaking of forms and documents that you can create, under setup is where you get into the customization of all these different templates. And we give you the ability it's a lot more flexible than what's in Foundation. So we give you the ability to control what shows or doesn't show. You know, you can flag certain fields as needing to be required. Custom fields are no problem. Custom templates, of course, are no problem. You can always edit the ones that we've provided, or if you wanted to pull in from PDF or Word, something that you're already working with, and you can always go ahead and do that and then just merge in the different fields. So setup is mainly customization of forms and templates, but it also gets into creating users and security permissions and things like that. And from a user and security permission, how overall it would work is it goes, each product is kind of the first level. So ProjectHQ, Executive HQ, CrewHQ, and then underneath that, it becomes at the job level, you know, who can see what jobs. And then when you get into this main area I'm about to hop into, ProjectHQ, it gets more granular, right? Like right down to the type of document or the type of area where can they access. So speaking of ProjectHQ here, so this is the main part of the platform. This is definitely the reason why companies are adding this. But this would show a list of all of your active jobs. I guess you can always look at inactive ones here if you wanted to. But the idea is when you select a job, it's then going to show an overview, more of like an overview dashboard like we looked at in that initial screen. But now we're looking at information that's just specific for this guess, this Lake County Trust rebuild job. And here it's going to show a place to fill out daily log information. Now, if you're using our mobile application, that will communicate to ProjectHQ. So if you're entering time into that, or job notes, or weather, or material, equipment, that'll push that information into here just to keep everybody on the same page. But there's daily logs, and then underneath that would be the schedule. So that's kind of the shortcut to ProjectHQ that we kind of walk through there. And then there's a place for most recent emails, and for email, of course, this is always a big topic that comes up when I talk with folks, and rightfully so, because project management software really has to be able to keep track of emails. So when it comes to email, two ways to do it. There's the ProjectHQ way and the mail app way. ProjectHQ basically ignores your default Office, Gmail, Google, whatever you're using for email. It ignores your default email and would create your own email account, like, for example, derek@hq.com, something along those lines. The mail app, which is what most of our customers are currently using, would tie into Outlook or whatever you're using for email, and you're sending it right out of here. It's just on the back end, it would save a copy back in your home account. So that's just familiarity is probably the main reason why most companies will go that route. But a couple different ways to create and track emails. And then, back to the overview board here, documents just for this project, action items, weather conditions, that would be based on the job's location. And then looking down the left-hand side, again, there's that left-hand side toolbar. I'll just kind of walk down through all the different features here. So details, just job setup information. So this would be kind of the similar type of info that you would see in Foundation underneath the job record in job costing. And then resources, that would go to schedule. That would be the ProjectHQ side of it. And then there's team. So just what contacts have you been dealing with on this project? That's that's in what that kind of explains right there. And then for work management, these just kind of, again, I'll kind of start at the top, kind of work down action items. So these are more just tasks that you can assign out to different individuals. These can be copied. You can duplicate these from one to the next job, probably doing the similar types of tasks on all of your jobs. That's kind of the idea there. And then kind of the big piece, let me kind of spend a little bit of time here, AIA worksheets. So the idea with certain parts here in HQ is that your project managers, because they kind of own, they're the kind of the job owners, if you will. They know all this information. There's really no sense to kind of go back and forth with accounting when you don't have to. So they're able to create this from start to finish, email out, track back and forth with the owner, negotiate percents and dollars. And then the idea is once it's okay, that's when it can push directly into Foundation. And even when it pushes directly into Foundation from the accounting department's point of view, there is a process of checks and balances. So they can run a list and they can okay it, or they can decline it. And most of the time they're probably going to okay it, but there is a chance. So it's not like everything that gets pushed from the field into from ProjectHQ into Foundation, it's just going to automatically save or post or anything like that. But you have the ability to have the details are basically the header information. So general fields, signature section, are there different retainage rules here? And then it's a matter of creating your schedule of values, which this can default off of a job budget. If that's how it works out, fantastic. If not, then you can always just create your different line items here. And then for applications, let me kind of jump over to that. You've got your different dates. You can enter in your dollars. You can enter in your percents. And then, this is where you can always print this. You can email it back. Of course, like I said, there's always a process where you can go back and revise things and resubmit. But then the idea is once it's good, that's when you'd be able to push this into Foundation, sync that into Foundation. So that's kind of the big key here with that. So AIAs came out a couple weeks ago, and you can create your own custom AIA documents too. It includes the 703 and 704 forms, the G702, 703 forms, excuse me. But if you do want to create your own custom templates for whatever reason, you can definitely do that. That's part of the document setup that we were kind of looking at a little bit earlier. So AIA is kind of the new big feature here. Other items in this section, daily logs. Kind of saw that before, but yeah, this is where you can always come and fill these out as well. Documents. So these would be, I always kind of call these non-accounting related documents. So these don't push into Foundation. They're just here in HQ, just designed to keep track and order of your project and where processes are at, things like that. But you have RFIs and submittals, which would be classified as standard documents. And then there's user-defined documents, which can literally be anything that you want. These are just a number of different examples that I've kind of just thrown together when I've been on the phone with folks. But all documents, like if I go into an RFI here, this will be kind of the layout screen where you can toggle by status. You can do a keyword search. Up here is where you can always run a list or a log too, right from this area. And then going into a document, all of your documents are going to have a detail section, which is all the main verbiage. This is what you can control, what shows or doesn't show, or what's required or not required to save a document, that type of thing. They're all going to have a correspondence section. So if you're going to manually keep track of any back and forth, there's where you could do it. There's attachments. Now, currently, how all the attachments, like drawings, files, PDFs, how those would all work is you would connect Dropbox, Google Docs, or OneDrive into HQ, and then you're dragging and dropping and saving documents here through HQ. It's just on the back end, they would store in one of those 3 file storage solutions. Moving forward here, not too far, end of November, beginning of December, we're going to be rolling out what's called Vault HQ, which is our own internal way to save and store documents. So that'll be kind of rolled out in 2 phases. The first phase will be being able to save documents, and then early 2023, we're going to add the ability to do markups within that as well. So you can do adjust drawings and things like that within that. So I know that's a big feature that a lot of companies are looking for. But yeah, currently Dropbox, Google Docs, and OneDrive would connect to HQ, and then that's how it would on the back end store. But you're managing everything right through this area here. And then of course emails, like I mentioned before, all these you can always email things out. You can print, you can create an action item. A lot of the different documents you can duplicate as well. So that's kind of the rundown, kind of how these different documents will work. And then last item in this section is punch lists. So yeah, these just checklist, to-do list, if you will. Yeah, these can always be duplicated. And then the next section down is cost management. This is a big section here. I'm sure it shows budget information, all the same details that you would see on the budget side and Foundation. But the big feature in here is change order management. So this is where you can create, the idea is you can create all of your requests. And again, it gets into all your different custom templates and forms. But the big thing for most companies in here is, sure, they can create the form, but they can also code out, how does that affect the budget? What line items, what cost codes are we affecting here? So the idea is you can create these, email these out, and then once you do hear back that it's hopefully approved, that's when these can be converted over to an actual change order. And then once it's an actual change order, that would then be able to push into Foundation to update and revise all of your job cost reports, your estimate versus actuals, things like that on that side. So change order management is definitely a big part of the platform. And then, not to be outdone underneath that, there's a section for committed costs. So you get into purchase orders and subcontracts here. And it's the same concept really as the change orders we just talked about, also at the AIAs, that your PMs here out in the field, they can create all of these, or whoever, it's up to you to determine, who has access to these different features and who can log in, that type of stuff. But this is where somebody can create these types of documents and then email them out. And then once they're I guess good, they can be pushed into Foundation to update onto that side. So those are kind of the big sections here in ProjectHQ. The last section down here, collaboration, this would just be kind of a one-stop shop, if you will, for all of the different files and documents that have been saved. Same thing with emails. This is where you can come to see all the different emails that have been sent out or received back in here for tracking. But that's ProjectHQ, kind of the main part. And then the third part of the platform is Executive HQ. So this is the reporting side of it. So this is where it's going to pull information directly from your job cost module in Foundation. It just looks nicer, looks newer. You'll get into some different charts and graphs. And the idea here is as a PM, you're going to kind of start, at totals, grand totals, and then you're able to drill down to the job, and then you're able to drill down into different sections within that job. So you start big, and then you can get, more and more detailed. So like here, you've got your grand totals on the top, and then down below, you just have a nice percent complete or over under report. And then from here is where you can drill into a job. And then this is where it gives you that, that dashboard with the different charts and graphs, representing cost classes, cost codes, couple for change orders on the right-hand side. And any of these charts or anything in blue, I could always drill down and get into detail. It could take me all the way down to individual lines of data, whether it's an AP invoice or a time card, things like that. But that's Executive HQ. So that is the third piece. And then, some of the other future updates, I mentioned Vault HQ that's coming. We're working on Workforce HQ, which is an HR component, starting off with the employee onboarding. That's looking by the end of the year here. And then going into 2023, we're going to be looking at estimating, digital takeoff, safety tracking. Eventually, we'll be getting into time cards within this. So there's a lot of runway here. So this is still definitely early on, even though it's been out for a couple of years and it's had quite a bit of development put into it already. So with that being said, I'll give you guys a few minutes to, if you've got any questions, there's a little place on the GoToWebinar sidebar there where you can type in any type of questions that you might have. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to zip through a quick slideshow here, just kind of showcasing other products, other things that we've been working on here on the client sales side of things. There's myself. So yeah, if you do have any follow-up questions, or if you do want to schedule a time to go online with you and your team and kind of, explore, the HQ a little bit more, feel free to reach out. My phone number is 1-800-246-0800. Email is dke@foundationsoft.com. And then, we still do have the COVID-19 Resource Center updates out there on the website. So, I don't know, hopefully that's not out there too much longer, but who knows? Current specials, hosted, our cloud offering. So if you're looking to maybe move your database to our cloud server, feel free to reach out and discuss a discount. Denise Hearn kind of handles that, but if you do want to reach out to me, I can always get you in touch with her. And then a little bit more, a few more bullet points on our hosted service. And then from a mobile standpoint, we offer 3 different mobile products that fall underneath the Foundation umbrella. There's our mobile app, which is mainly for time cards, but it covers other types of information. And then there's e-access, which is a online pay portal for your employee to see their pay stub information. And then for those service companies out there that do service work, we have a service mobile app that think paperless work orders. That's kind of what goes on with that. And here's what we talked about all day today. We probably got to update some of these bullet points here. But yeah, ProjectHQ, also Executive HQ. And then if you're looking to outsource payroll, we do have a sister company that handles that, payroll for construction. Everything's completely tied into Foundation, so there's no additional places you go or steps you have to do. That's kind of the big feature there. And then if you do need additional training, we do offer a consulting department that will help people even come out to your office for a couple of days if needed. So feel free to reach out on that. And then lastly, feel free to share your Foundation story, good or bad. We always like to hear things that we're doing good, things that we can maybe improve on as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to you guys. See if you have any types of questions. I'll hang out here for a few minutes just to make sure. Oh, and here's a question. Must have been somebody that attended a webinar a little bit ago, asking about percent completes. And we do have a feature coming out. I think we've already started work on it. I don't know if it's going to be November, December, but there's going to be a percent complete worksheet. So if you need your PMs to fill that out to get into forecasting projections, that'll be a feature that we'll be adding as well. Yeah, percent complete worksheet, similar to what we have already in the software, but again, it's just something that would be here where they can adjust the job percent complete. I don't know, hang on just another minute or two just to make sure everybody's got all their questions answered. And again, you see my information up there on the screen if there's anything that you need after that. And there's a question here: is the WIP report available on Executive HQ? Yeah, that's where you would see that. You basically see the top line here. That would be basically the WIP percent complete report that's here on the Executive HQ side. And then a question here: is this similar to Procore? Yeah, that's being completely upfront. This is a product that we developed that for most of our customers, and Procore is a great software. Let me just say that up front. We're partners with them. We actually have an integration tool that ties what they do into Foundation. But I'd say the majority of our companies, our customers, don't have the need for all the specific bells and whistles that are in Procore. They're looking for something that's a little bit more streamlined, maybe even something too that's a little bit more cost effective. That's where something like this would come into play. But it depends on what fit, what the fit is. So, but no, they're a good software. But yeah, this would be similar, kind of the same idea, but what they do gets way more detailed and involved than what ProjectHQ does. It just depends on what your needs are. And then a question: is it beneficial for subs to use? Yeah, absolutely. Probably work for both general contractors and subcontractors. But if I had to say which direction, probably a little bit more, probably more on the sub side. All right. Well, I think everybody's got their questions answered, but let me pull that up there one more time. Yeah, but if you need anything, have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to help. All right, guys, I appreciate you spending a little bit of your morning here, and feel free if you need anything at all, give me a call, shoot me an email. We'll take it from there. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.